Hello, this is DrPaulCottrell, and I'd like to talk about JD Vance and Trump's VP pick. I'm going to play MSNBC and CNN and give you my take on it. But before that, please make sure you subscribe to all my channels. I have 4 channels on YouTube. I have Brighteon, Bitchute, and Rumble. All the links are in the description of this video. Please go and click those links and subscribe to all my channels. Please follow me on X and on GETTR. You can also listen to my podcasts on Apple Podcast or Podomatic. All the links are in the description of this video. With that said, let's start playing the MSNBC. Now, they're going to spin it as JD is a bad pick. I personally am not so happy with JD. I have some reservations on, the flip-flopping he did, where he was anti-Trump at the beginning and then he became pro-Trump. I find that he is a little bit inexperienced in terms of foreign policy. I feel that he's inexperienced in terms of politics in general. And I am not really so sure that he was so self-made. The reason being, he's a hard worker. He served his country honorably. That should be applauded. But the thing is that, all right, he went from somewhat middle-class background to, I'm not sure if he was middle class or lower middle class background, maybe on that borderline between lower middle class background, and made a life for himself. All right, that's all. He went into the service. He was a Marine. He served his country. He goes to school, gets a degree at Ohio State, and then goes to Yale for law school. So he's smart. All right, and he's a hard worker. All right, and that comes from that whole Midwest hardworking mentality. I get it because I was from Michigan. All right, but the thing is that he made, quote, his money in tech, or not in tech, made his money as a venture capitalist from people that had lots of money from tech. All right, and people funded his companies, or funded his VC operation, his venture capital firm, to be able to invest in certain types of companies like biotech. Okay, so he's not, quote, self-made. That's not self-made. Elon Musk is self-made. He came from nothing, made some code with Peter Thiel, and ended up selling, PayPal. All right. Elon Musk is self-made. Henry Ford, self-made. All right. Working in the garage, tinkering around, creating a car, and then coming up with this idea of mass production. That's self-made. JD Vance is not self-made. JD Vance knew people that could give him money to be able to invest in biotech companies through this VC. He doesn't even seem to be too bright about how the whole VC world works. But he was a lawyer that could leverage connections. Now, who are those connections from? His wife. My understanding is she has 3 degrees. 2 of them are from Yale. One's undergrad, Yale. The other from Yale is law, where they met. So law school. And then she ended up getting a master's degree at Cambridge. So she's well educated. She's Indian. She probably was pushed, because of the whole social class kind of thing that was going on with her family. And that she happened to clerk for Kavanaugh and some other major judge. I can't remember the name. I'm not sure if it was Roberts or Gorsuch, or one of the major judges. I can't remember which, but Kavanaugh was one of them. So she has connections. I would not be surprised. And, oh, and by the way, her mother is from the University of California working in biology. All these connections here seem to have been lent to J.D. Vance to propel him in this VC world, venture capital world, and push him into politics. Peter Thiel was the one that kind of really supported him in the political arena. He wasn't doing so well, but Trump actually came in and tried to help support him too on the campaign trail. So, you know, is he really self-made? Is he a hard worker? Yes. Did he serve his country honorably? Yes. Is he smart? Yes. Is he self-made? No, he's not self-made. The connector is his wife. She's the mover and shaker, not him. So, and then because she's from undergrad Yale, and she's of that generation where women were allowed into Skull and Bones, I would not be surprised. I can't prove it, but I would not be surprised that she knows intimately the rabbi that's Asian in New York that's running the major synagogue in Manhattan, who is Skull and Bones. All right. Now, doesn't it seem like J.D. Vance is like the lesser version of DeSantis? DeSantis, Yale, potentially Skull and Bones. I don't know. I haven't seen the roster. It's not published, so we don't know. But the thing is that he had that arrogance, the Yale arrogance, you know, a resume that seemed very catered and tailored to being a president. DeSantis looks very much like a well-tailored presidential candidate that was on a track, and that it's been many years. And I feel that J.D. Vance is of a similar case. Now, DeSantis is more condescending than J.D. Vance. DeSantis is a little bit more elitist than J.D. Vance, but they're coming from the same path, this Yale path. All right. I don't trust J.D. Vance. I didn't trust him from the moment I found out that Trump picked him. I think that it was a poor pick. And here, once again, Trump, you know, for whatever reason, is putting people around him that just seem like they're not going to be there for him, for his president, for his administration, that it's more about their own agenda. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just don't trust J.D. Vance. Now, I'm going to be voting for Trump either way. But the thing is that J.D. Vance is not a self-made guy. His wife made the connections. He was able to take those connections and do something with it. And being a VC, a venture capitalist, is not self-made. Because how does a venture capitalist work? You find people that are willing to put money into your fund, and then you decide on where you're going to put your money to fund certain companies. So you're just a manager, just a little. You're a conduit manager, but it's not even his money. It's other rich people's money. He's just the middle person to fund it to different biotech companies. So I'm not the ones that are running biotech companies, the ones that are doing the startup. Those are self-made. Those are the ones that are trying to, you know, build a new type of technology, or, you know, someone that is inventing a new invention, you know, in let's say automotive or in aerospace or whatever. That's self-made. Being a VC is not being self-made, especially when you're getting your money from billionaires in tech. So the story with JD is, he's kind of sort of like DeSantis, but with a Midwest kind of feel. Now, I don't even like this guy. I find that he's, a never Trumper type.
You feel like it looks good and you wear it out feeling good, and the next day you can't even believe you bought it, you don't want to put it on. Or maybe it was something online, so you saw the jacket on the mannequin, but then when it arrived, it didn't fit the same way. It's called buyer's remorse. We all have had it at one time or another. But there are reports that Donald Trump and MAGA leaders have it in a big way.
Notice that MSNBC always talks down to you, like you don't know the word buyer remorse.
Senator Vance, an avalanche of criticism has greeted him now that he is out there, and in contrast to the Dems' big new addition of Kamala Harris, a Republican congressman saying Vance is now, quote, the worst choice they could have made. Harris's campaign is seizing on this, not just attacking Donald Trump, who they need to defeat, but going right after, apparently, this weak spot and tension between the two of them. They use some pretty tough language, saying that, based on the substance and evidence of what J.D. Vance has said about women and child rearing and tax policy, that he then should discriminate against people who don't or can't have kids. All of that together, they say, makes him a, quote, creep. One far-right lawmaker has been an outspoken opponent against women's rights and publicly made misogynistic remarks on camera. That's the context for all this. Take a look.
Before we do that, I am positive, because I've seen the clip, all right? What JD is basically saying, and it's true because you see it in New York all the time, there are these different women, right, out there, okay? There's some women that want kids, they can't have kids because they had a developmental problem with their genitalia or genital area, and they just can't bear children. Or they were sick, and they had to have a hysterectomy or whatever, and they can't have children, right? There are a lot of women that have that issue. Or they had an STI, and they can't bear children, all right? So there's many different reasons why people can't bear children, right? But there's a big part of the segment of the population that has gone woke, that is very feminist, that is about career, and they'll find a guy later, and then all of a sudden their eggs dry up, and they don't have they realize that they missed the boat. They can't get married. No one wants them, or they do get married and they just don't have kids because she stopped ovulating. And now there is remorse because they made a decision. They bought into the whole idea that career is more important than family. Remember, the key things that I keep on saying when it comes to the ultra liberal is that they want to destroy God, country, and family. So what J.D. Vance was talking about was this idea that it's all about this whole feminism thing where family creation is not that important. It's lower on the selection set of things to do in your life. And many, many of them regret it once they stop ovulating, they can't have kids, and they look around and their friends have kids or whatever. You see this all the time in New York, where you got this career woman that thinks that, you know, she's going to have fun with her life and she's going to be in charge with everything. And then all of a sudden there's no family creation and there's depression. Many women are on medication or going through psychotherapy because of this issue. All right? Because they made decisions, they bought into a situation where it was about career first and not family creation, and then it just snowballed to a point where they couldn't have kids for whatever reason. So, but then there's also a segment of population that really wanted kids right away and they just can't. And you know, that's a difficult situation. So J.D. Vance could have spun it a little bit softer for that crowd that couldn't have kids but wanted kids. But he was really focused on the self-centered person that's more about animals you know, like pets, and not so much about family creation. That's what JD was, and I don't even like JD, but that's what JD was saying.
Effectively run in this country via the Democrats, via our corporate oligarchs, by a bunch of childless cat ladies who are miserable at their own lives and the choices that they've made, and so they want to make the rest of the country miserable too.
Right, right. And any guy,
and
any guy that questions their choice must be a sexist. Remember, I don't know which football player it was, but one of the football players made a statement about women should, you know, raise children if they want. I think he was talking at a religious university. Maybe he must have been doing commencements or something and getting an honorary doctorate or something. But he was the guest speaker, and he was, I don't remember the name of the player. I think it was a football player. And he was basically promoting this idea of women needing to create families. And so there are podcasters that are these, you know, very forceful feminist podcasters that called him an asshole and, you know, hated him, and, you know, that he's so sexist and all this. But the thing is that it's the foundation of society. If people don't have families, it doesn't work. It's very simple. The agenda, the feminist agenda, right, in its purest form, in its ultra left form, is antithetical to a vibrant society.
Kamala Harris, who of course was a big star Democrat, but not the nominee, and she has 2 children in her family. They are stepchildren. Now, these comments have drawn all kinds of heat. And here's the thing about right-wing Republican politics. What might seem to work at the convention stage, and we've covered that, or in political interviews, sometimes has a way of completely failing out in the real world, where plenty of people care about, you know, family choices and the freedom and liberty to exercise them without being beat up upon by some potentially arrogant seeming male politician. So take Jennifer Aniston, who was a lot more popular than J.D. Vance, and discuss how she tried but could not ultimately have kids through her IVF journey. She's slamming J.D. Vance for this attack on what she views as just all women, not, you know, just liberal.
Well, here's the problem with Jennifer Aniston. She waited until later in life, and I'm telling you, a lot of times these women are postponing conception until later in life because they wanted to grow their career. And then they start having problems with these other artificial means of conception. All right. Now, sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it works and the child is deformed or has problems. You know, so again, we need to really ask the question, was their decision self-centered? Yeah, they have the freedom to make that decision. But the compound effect of the agent-based decision at its lowest common denominator adds up at the societal level, where you may be making a decision that is individual, but if that decision may have been beneficial for whatever reason for Jennifer Anderson. You know, she was building up her career in film, in TV. But when you add them all up, there is a negative externality on society where the fabric starts to break down, the population growth goes down, the economic vibrance goes down. You have an aging population. It's not being recycled with new a new generation as robustly as it should. And all of a sudden, you start seeing societal problems. So this is not just at the individual level. I don't even remember what this guy's name is, but it's not just at the individual level, but you can extrapolate this out to how it affects society in general. Right? So with Jennifer's issue, she waited too late because she picked her career first.
Or actress Connie Britton and singer Pink, we mentioned earlier, engaged with the Harris campaign, are on this 160,000 plus strong women's rally online for Harris, breaking records. They call it White Women for Harris. There's also then calls from different constituency groups. So Black Women for Harris, Black Men for Harris, and several others. And this is not just a feel-good Zoom. It is also a way to have people communicate directly about a whole range of issues from real people, not just from, those of us in the media or those of us in politics. And they've raised millions of dollars. They are fighting for Harris, who is now saying this campaign, now that she's taking it over, is about freedom. And again, we've talked about the connective tissue here. Joe Biden did talk a lot about Roe. In fact, when he talked about how the predictions were wrong about the midterms, he cited how the women's backlash against Trump's right-wing justices overturning Roe. But Harris may be a very different type of messenger and leader on these issues. And she's certainly a contrast to J.D. Vance, whose degrading remarks are backed by all kinds of policy plans.
When you go to the polls in this country as a parent, you should have more power. If you don't have as much of an investment in the future of this country, maybe you shouldn't get nearly the same voice.
If you're making $100,000, $400,000 a year, and you've got 3 kids, you should pay a different, lower tax rate than if you're making the same amount of money and you don't have any kids.
Now, this is something you see on the internet. You see it with podcasters, and I guess you see it with a senator who's now in the line to be one heartbeat for the presidency.
What's wrong with trying to add incentive for family creation? What's wrong with that? We need that in our society.
One, which is this kind of political talking style, like, what there ought to be? And also, what would be fair? They won't do it. They won't let you have it. I hear that on podcasts a lot. That's fine. Everyone has the freedom to talk about what they want. But we're doing the news here, and I'll give you some fact checks. Americans with children.
You have the freedom to talk unless you are warning the public about an existential threat in 2020. Then they don't give you the freedom to talk. I know that firsthand. Please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get the all-natural deodorants that I have. I have it in citrus, and I also have it in peppermint, lavender, and tea tree. This is made from essential oils from the Himalayas. It will help to detoxify your body slowly. It has no aluminum. It has no baking soda in it. This is a very high-quality deodorant. Get a couple bars for your household. It's for males and females, very high quality. Go to the store, the-studio-reykjavik.com. I have a great powdered probiotic that I take every day. I mix it with my hummus in the afternoon for lunch. It's just a little scooper. You just put the scooper in your food and mix it, and then you take it. You should take a probiotic every day to help with your gut biome. In addition, I also have a tablet form on my store. So please go to the store, the-studio-reykjavik.com. I also have a multivitamin in stock now. So please go to the store, get the multivitamin. This is a high quality multivitamin, easy to digest. You should be taking a multivitamin every day. There are many people, especially when they listen to MSNBC, can't sleep very well. So please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get the Good Night formula. You need to be in 3 cycles of REM sleep for proper rest, so you have more energy in the morning, to help to detoxify your body, and to help to consolidate memory. If you have disruption in your REM cycle sleep, you will have memory problems. If this happens chronically over the years, it increases the chances of dementia. So what you want to start trying to do an anti-aging for neural health and for the brain, you want proper sleep and proper supplementation, proper diet and exercise, proper lipid profile, but also you need to get good sleep. If you're having problems sleeping regularly, take the good night formula each night, and you're gonna be able to get into those 3 cycles of REM sleep. So go to the store and get the good night formula. It has tryptophan and melatonin in it. Digestive enzyme complex, really important. It helps to break down carbohydrates, lipids, and proteins. It lessens the load on your pancreas. As we get older, our pancreas doesn't function as well. So this will help to be able to absorb those nutrients, put less load on the pancreas. In addition, if you work out and you want to recover after your workout quicker, taking the digestive enzyme complex is going to help you. In addition, this has fibrinolytic and proteolytic enzymes in it. That means that the proteolytic enzymes will break down glycoproteins. We know all about the glycoproteins now, right, since 2020. And in addition, it also is fibrinolytic, and we know all about clotting issues since 2020. So what you want to do is take fibrinolytic enzymes and proteolytic enzymes, which this has, to be able to break down glycoproteins and to be able to break down the fibrin in a clot, to reduce clots. So you should be taking this every day. I've been warning people to do this for 4 years. All right, so please go to the store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get the digestive enzyme complex.
And families within our tax code do get a tax break. They already get it. It's called the child tax credit. Over 40 million people get it. And if you're really interested, a heck of a lot of Democrats and liberals supported it before J.D. Vance claimed it didn't exist, because it is also seen as an equalizer for middle and lower income families. I'm joined by Molly John Fast from Vanity Fair. And Molly, I don't mean to be too, fact-checky with Senator Vance. There is. So I would invite you to engage either on the policy if you want, which I landed on, or the broader sort of trolling, ignorant misogyny.
Because J.D. Vance stated a certain income range, right? I believe that child credit isn't for all income classes. I believe it's only for middle to lower income classes, not the upper middle or high income classes. And I think J.D. Vance was trying to raise the bar of what the threshold point is. Now, I could be wrong on that. I'm not a tax accountant on that, but I think that's how it works.
And whether it is working for the Republican ticket.
Well, I was really surprised when Trump picked Vance, because I thought, why would he pick someone who doubles down on misogyny? But more than that, why would he pick someone who ran 20 points behind Mike DeWine in the state of Ohio in his Senate race? I mean, the man really underperformed, even though it's a bright red state. So I was surprised. Because
his connections through his wife and the big billionaires from California. That's why. Because there's going to be a big biotech play.
But I think it was Trump world's overconfidence, and also a lot of tech oligarchs were pushing Vance, and ultimately they did, they picked Vance. But what Vance offers is this radically different view of what women's rights versus what the Harris ticket offers. And it's so interesting to me, because here is a group that has spent all its time saying, right, Trump says, I have nothing to do with Project 2025. That's not me. That's the Heritage Foundation. J.D. Vance wrote the introduction for the president of the Heritage Foundation's book, which is coming out in the fall, right? I mean, this is like, he's so tied to this. And when you hear him in these interviews, he's always espousing this sort of misogynistic, working women are lesser than women who have children. I mean, this kind of stuff is really from another century. And so I do think it was a real gamble for Trump world to go further into the misogyny, and J.D. Vance is that messenger.
This was Kamala Harris speaking Tuesday. Take a look.
We who believe in reproductive freedom will stop.
She believes in reproductive freedom, but she doesn't believe in the freedom of the unborn. That's a fact. And we're going to find that the same reason to give constitutional freedoms to women is the same reason to give constitutional freedoms to the unborn.
Trump's extreme abortion bans because we trust women to make decisions about their own body and not let their government tell them what to do.
That's clear. It looks like she's on offense. Again, in contrast, we got 100 days where we're covering all this. Here's how J.D. Vance sounded. He went on with Megyn Kelly, the former Fox host, and did a sort of a dance, and he stands by some of it, but take a look.
Obviously, it was a sarcastic comment. I've got nothing against cats. I've got nothing against dogs. I've got one dog at home. The substance of what I said, Megyn, I'm sorry, it's true.
Molly?
Yeah, it's misogyny, right? These women who control the government, who don't have children. It's a knock against ambitious women, right? His idea is that if you are an ambitious...
No, it's not. It's the realization that your choices have societal ramifications. And those choices are hurting the society, not helping it. We have a destruction of the family unit. I mean, this woman here, I mean, her style, you know, it's about good style, right? And etiquette, manners, right? That's what we should espouse to, right? With all these chains around her neck, and it's hard for you to see probably, for all these chains around her neck, right? And, you know, the dyed hair and the glasses, she almost looks like a cat. And cats smell. Please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get the vitamin B complex. Why? You need the complex that I offer in this bottle here. The first B vitamins, B1 through B5, help with the mitochondrial health and is synergistic with C60, which I'll talk about soon. But the vitamin B complex here will help with energy and help with metabolism. So it's really important, especially when you get older, to be taking supplementation in B complex. So please go to the store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get the B complex. I also have turmeric. Turmeric is very important to bring down that inflammation. It's an antioxidant, so that's good. It'll help with slowing down the aging process by bringing down that inflammation and being a good antioxidant. But I also take it with ashwagandha, which helps control blood glucose levels. And by doing that, you're bringing down that inflammatory response in the in your vascular system, so you'll have better cardiovascular health. But when you couple these together, you're bringing down that inflammatory response and slowing down the aging process, reducing that chronic inflammation. So with that, it's really important to take ashwagandha and the turmeric. Vitamin D3, really important as a gene expression cofactor, also helps to absorb calcium, and it will get rid of cells that have been infected. So D3 is part of the apoptosis cascade. So please go to my store and get the vitamin D3. Take this every day. I take 2 soft gels per day. I take one in the morning and one in the evening.
You're lesser because you have a career, you focus on your career and not on having children. I've had a lot of children. I don't think that I'm any better than a person who hasn't had a lot of children. And the idea is really this Christian nationalist idea that women are on this planet to produce children.
No, I think that women should have careers if they want them, but it's also important to have family. So if you can do both, which is very difficult, even better, right? My parents, came from an older generation where my mother was a stay-at-home mother, right? And that was beneficial in raising the children. But I also noticed because she, also wanted to have a career that she felt that she missed out. So I don't think that women should be in a situation thinking in their mind that it's an either or, right? If they don't want children, it's up to them. But that their decisions are important at the societal level. And if many women do this, then there's the destruction of the family unit. Now, if women just want to stay home and have kids, or stay at home and don't have a career and don't have kids, that's up to them. All right. But a well-functioning society is when a female is more engaged. And why would a female be more engaged with the school system if she doesn't have any kids? Right? So if there's a lot of dual income, no kid type families, then you're not going to have really as much oversight in that whole school system. And our schools, public schools, are failing miserably. So, it's a big problem. Please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get the Riz Veratrol. This Riz Veratrol, it will help to get rid of senescent cells that stop dividing but don't go through apoptosis. So you want to get rid of the senescent cells, and by doing that, you're stimulating the body to produce more cells in that area. And on average, what will happen is that the telomere lengths will actually increase, because senescent cells, the telomere lengths will get to the point it's so short that they stop dividing. And they either stay dormant or they die off through apoptosis. As we get older, we have a lot of senescent cells. We want to get rid of those. And in areas of tissue that have adult stem cells, to be able to have those adult stem cells to regenerate new cells, and the average tissue telomere length is longer. So please go to the store and get the Riz Veratrol. This should be coupled with other anti-aging supplements that I've been talking about, such as C60. C60 is a very strong antioxidant. You can get it in a 2 ounce, a 4 ounce, or an 8 ounce configuration. You can get it in extra virgin olive oil, MCT coconut oil, or avocado oil. You take a teaspoon of this a day, swallow it, take it in the morning. You get the best absorption, because on an empty stomach, you get the best absorption. And if you're going to work out, take it before your workout to help with your recovery. But take this every day. It's a very strong antioxidant. It's going to slow down the aging process. Antioxidants, taking very strong antioxidants like C60 is very important. So go to the store and get the C60. And that's something that you couple with the Riz Veratrol to help with that whole slowing down that aging process and improve that mitochondrial health. Because the C60 neutralizes the free radicals, but it also boosts up the mitochondrial health and then more ATP. So this whole idea of anti-aging is bring down that free radical load and help with the boosting of the mitochondrial health to have more ATP, so you have more energy. Vitamin C, very important for skin and very important for the immune system. If you're not feeling well, take a double dose of this. But take vitamin C every day. Clarity factor, very important for mental acuity and to get rid of that brain fog. Take this every day and you'll get those neurons firing more often. That means you have better memory and you'll be able to think faster. So take this every day. And this is, you should be taking this if you're working or you're in school, or even if you're retired. If you take this every day, you're going to improve that neural connection. Leaf extract, right, is a new product that I have. I also have zeolite, which is a new product. But leaf extract it helps with the immune system. Olive leaf extract helps with the immune system and your cardiovascular health. So please take this every day. It's a great product. It's new on my store. And I also have zeolite. Zeolite is a detoxifier. So many people have not detoxified heavy metals out of their body. How do you get heavy metals? Through the drinking water and through the processed foods that you eat. So what you want to do is do a detox. This idea is that one should do a detox once or twice a year. All right. If you're really healthy and you've done many detoxes, you can maybe do it every other year. But that first go around, you should at least do it twice a year, detox. Now, what kind of detoxes? Colon detoxes, right? Light liver detoxing and kidney detoxing. Once or twice a year, right? And it's basically certain types of herbs in cold pressed form that you put under your tongue, all right? And you do that once or twice a year. Most of those products you can get at Global Health Center, or Global Healing Center, I think it is, by Dr. Group. But I have zeolite on my store, and this is a heavy metal detox. What it does is it has a negatively charged molecule, and it attaches to positively charged heavy metals, toxins, and chemicals. All right. So you take a drop of this a day, right? But some people will take more drops in a day as they get their body used to taking zeolite. But you take this every day for the whole bottle, and you have now detoxified your body for the year. Some people will take a drop each day and then add another drop every day until they reach 10 drops. And then they do that for a period of time, a few months. And then they drop back down to 1 or 2 drops as a maintenance. Other people will just do a drop a day continuously. And then some people will do just do a drop until they use up the bottle, and then they're done with it for the year. It's up to you, but you kind of have to, if you're going to take more than 1 drop, you have to ease your body into it, because you may have built up a lot of toxins in your body because of the buildup of taking processed foods and drinking unfiltered water and all this stuff. So you kind of have to ease into it. All right. But you buy this from my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com. And by soaking up those heavy metals, those toxins, and those chemicals, then you're flushing it out. You urinate this out. What will happen is it'll bind, and then you urinate it out in 6 or 8 hours. And that way you're getting rid of these heavy metals and toxins and chemicals, right? The key, though, is just to filter your water. Make sure you drink filtered water, no fluoride, and also stop eating processed foods. Eat more organic, eat more healthy. And what will happen is that you're detoxifying your body, you're improving the food that you're eating, and you're getting healthier. And you'll notice that you'll have more energy by just doing that. But if you start adding these other things that I do by taking the supplementation, doing the proper exercise, you're going to really feel good. And you're going to feel that your body is healing and that your immune system is getting better, right? And you're slowing down that aging process. So there's many ways to use zeolite. It's the point here. Some people just take 1 drop and they take it for the whole bottle. Some people take 1 drop and they take it for the whole year. Some people ramp up to 10 drops and then ramp down it for a maintenance. Some people will take, ramp up to 10 drops and then ramp down until they're done with the bottle. There's many different ways to do it. How I do it is that I will take the bottle. I'll take a few drops of this every day until the bottle's done, and then I'm done for the year. Or you can do it twice a year if you're concerned about your water supply and foods that you eat. So, but there are other people that take it every day throughout the whole year, just one drop. So it's up to you on how you do it. I prefer taking the bottle, few drops until it's done, and then I'm done for the year. Or do that twice a year. But I've done detoxes before, so I don't need to do it as regularly as someone that's never done it, right? So, this is really important to get those heavy metals out. Now, there is a caveat, and that caveat is that if you're on medication, you have to talk to your doctor, because you want to make sure that the zeolite is not binding to your medication where it's not as effective and just urinating it out. So if you're on medication, no matter what medication it is, you need to talk to your doctor first to make sure that you can take zeolite or how you take zeolite, because this is going to try to bind to chemicals that may not necessarily should be in your body, such as certain type of pharmacological therapies that you're taking, heart medication, diabetes medication, whatever. And that might bind to your medication and make it less effective. You don't want to do that. So, you need to talk to your doctor. If you are on medication from a doctor, you need to talk to your doctor before you take zeolite to make sure that you're not negating the effects of the medication to help with your issue. All right. So talk to your doctor before you take zeolite if you are on medication. Now, getting rid of heavy metals, toxins, and chemicals out of your body is really important once or twice a year. Some people do a maintenance throughout the whole year. It's up to you. Different people take it differently, and that's okay, So go to the store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, get the olive leaf extract, which helps with the immune system and circulation, and the zeolite to detoxify your body. Get healthy, but when you're doing a detox, you also have to make sure you're filtering your water and you're eating better food, and stop eating the processed food and the fast food. That's where a lot of these chemicals are coming from. These toxins are coming from. So thank you for listening. Please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com.